They told you it was destiny. They told you the chaos, the obsession, the magnetic pull toward that one person was a sign from the universe. They whispered it was your twin flame. And you believed them, because how could it not be? The way their eyes seemed to recognize you, the way your body burned when they touched you, the way leaving them felt like tearing your own soul in half. But here's the forbidden truth no one dare say aloud. Most so-called twin flames are not destiny. They are trauma. They are the shadow's favorite disguise. If you're here, you already know the symptoms. You meet someone, and suddenly your whole body lights up with purpose. But then, just as quickly, the purpose turns to pain. Days of ecstasy followed by nights of abandonment. Endless cycles of chasing and running, breaking and reuniting, love that feels divine but leaves you bleeding. You manifest, you pray, you script in journals until your hands ache, but they never stay. Or if they do, the connection corrodes into poison. And when you finally collapse, you're left asking the same silent question in the middle of the night. Why does something that feels so cosmic hurt so much? This is the shadow's work. Not the shadow out there. The shadow inside you. The part of yourself you disowned, forgotten, denied. The part that hungers in silence until it cloaks itself in someone else's face and says, "Here I am. Love me. Save me." But the shadow never asks without a price. So tonight, we're descending together into the underworld of this lie, this myth, this twin flame trap. And when we return, you will no longer be a seeker of signs. You will be a sovereign of your own psyche. Are you ready to understand the real reason you keep mistaking trauma for destiny? Then step with me into the dark. Welcome to Darker Wisdom, where psychology's darkest truths collide with forbidden's power. If you're ready to stop chasing illusions and start mastering the shadows within, you're in the right place. Subscribe now and join the descent. Let's dismantle the fantasy. You've heard the mainstream version of the twin flame story. Two souls split in half at the beginning of time, destined to collide and reunite in this life. You are told that the chaos and pain is simply the purging of karmic wounds, that the obsession is proof of the bond, that every heartbreak is a spiritual test you must endure to finally merge with your divine other. It sounds romantic. It feels spiritual. But it is poison disguised as honey. Because if this were destiny, if this truly were the universe reuniting what was broken, why would it feel like decay? Why would the path to union require the obliteration of your self-worth? The popular advice doesn't help. They say, just keep manifesting them back. They say, surrender and chase no more. They say, heal yourself and they'll return in harmony. And yet, you've tried. You've done the vision boards, the affirmations, the desperate silence where you pray, they'll text back. But nothing changes, not for long, because the advice is shallow. It treats the symptom, not the disease. Here is the forbidden truth. What you are calling twin flame is often the psyche reenacting its oldest wound. Carl Jung would call this a complex. Specifically, the activation of the anima or animus projection, the unconscious image of the ideal partner that lives inside every soul. This image carries not only light, but shadow. Every unmet need, every unhealed wound, every fragment of the child who was abandoned, ignored, or engulfed, all of it lives inside this figure. And when you meet someone who matches the frequency of that wound, the projection ignites. It feels like recognition, because it is recognition, not of them, but of your own shadow. The myth of the twin flame survives because it flatters the ego. It whispers that your suffering has cosmic meaning, that your pain is sacred, that your obsession is ordained by the stars. But the darker truth is this: the obsession is not divine. It is a trauma bond. The constant highs and lows, the push and pull, the feeling that you cannot live without them. These are the fingerprints of nervous system dysregulation, not destiny. Your shadow isn't blocking your union. Your shadow is the union. It is the part of you you keep seeking in another. And until you claim it, the cycle will not break. Let me tell you a story, the myth of Persephone and Hades. Persephone was lured into the underworld, tricked into eating the pomegranate seeds that bound her to Hades forever. Half her life in light, half in darkness. This is the myth of the twin flame. You meet someone, and without realizing it, you eat the seed. You taste the sweetness of recognition, but the sweetness binds you to the underworld of your own wounds. Here is the mechanism: projection. When you project the anima or animus onto someone, you are not seeing them. You are seeing the exiled god or goddess inside your psyche. You are seeing the part of you you lost in childhood, the nurturer, the protector, the lover, the safe embrace. And the intensity of recognition is simply your unconscious screaming, "There you are. Don't ever leave me again." But the unconscious doesn't distinguish between love and pain. If you lost safety through abandonment, the image of love will also carry abandonment. If you lost worth through criticism, the image of love will also carry cruelty. And so the projection glues you to a person who embodies both the promise and the punishment. That is why you can't walk away. That is why you call it fate. Because you are not chasing them. You are chasing yourself. And when they hurt you, when they abandon you, when they betray you, it feels unbearable because it is not only their betrayal. It is the reenactment of the first betrayal, the original wound. This is the forbidden mechanism of the twin flame lie. It is trauma bonding masquerading as destiny. And if you felt the shiver just now, if your stomach twisted because you recognized yourself in these words, that is the shadow rising to the surface. That is the underworld speaking your name. Now comes the alchemy. Knowing the truth is not enough. You must descend into the fire and bring back the gold. There is a protocol, dangerous, uncomfortable, but liberating. Think of it as the dark protocol of shadow integration. First, you must identify the projection. When you feel the obsessive pull, when your body lights up with that frantic need, pause. Name it for what it is. Not them, but your shadow. Not divine recognition, but the resurrection of the child inside you crying out, "See me. Love me. Don't leave me." Second, you must dialogue with the shadow. Sit with it. Write to it. Ask it what it needs. Rage with it. Weep with it. Cradle it. Because the only way to break the trauma bond is to give yourself what you once begged another to give. And third, you must reclaim the energy. Every ounce of obsession you pour into chasing them is fuel meant for your own becoming. Redirect it. Create with it. Build with it. Burn it into art, into discipline, into devotion to yourself. This is transmutation, turning the lead of longing into the gold of sovereignty. But know this, it will hurt. It will feel like death. Because in a sense, it is the death of the illusion, the death of the fantasy that someone else will complete you. And yet, on the other side of that death is resurrection. You will no longer be the seeker begging destiny to return your other half. You will be whole. And in that wholeness, you may finally meet love not as a cage, but as a mirror you can choose to step into freely. This is the ascent. The climb from the underworld back into light, scarred, but sovereign. So now you see it. The lie was never about love. The twin flame wasn't your destiny. It was your shadow, wearing the mask of salvation. Every desperate longing, every unbearable silence, every burning obsession was never about another person. It was your own exiled power, calling you home through the only language you could hear, pain. Carl Jung warned us that what we refuse to face within will appear before us as fate. And now you've seen it for yourself. Fate was only a mirror, and the mirror was cracked. But listen closely. This is not where your story ends. The bond that once enslaved, you can become the gold you forge yourself upon. Integration is not about destroying the shadow, it's about making it your ally. The very fire that once consumed you is the fire you can wield. You are no longer a seeker, lost in illusions of the one. You are an alchemist, sovereign, capable of turning suffering into strength, illusion into truth, and shadow into power. So I leave you with this question. Will you keep dancing with the ghost of what you lost? Or will you finally claim the treasure that has always been buried within you? If this struck something deep, leave a comment below. Tell me what mask your shadow has worn in your life. And if you're ready to descend even further, subscribe now and step with me into the next chamber of darker wisdom.